The first time the knocking started, everyone thought it was a joke. It came at exactly 2:17 a.m., 3 slow knocks on the front door of the old apartment building. Not loud, not urgent, just loud enough to slip into your dreams and wake you with that cold, sinking feeling that someone is standing outside waiting. By morning, the building's group chat was alive with messages. Did anyone else hear that? Probably kids messing around. Who knocks at that hour and just leaves? No one had an answer. The security camera at the entrance showed nothing. No person. No sado. No movement. Just the door sitting there, perfectly still, as the knocks echoed through the hallway. The second night, the knocking came again. 2:17 a.m. 3 knocks. This time closer. Not the front door. Apartment 3B. That was my door. I sat straight up in bed, heart hammering so hard it felt like it might crack my ribs. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I just listened. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 knocks again. Slow. Patient. Like whoever or whatever was on the other side knew I was awake. Hello. I whispered, hating myself the moment the word left my mouth. The knocking stopped. I waited a full minute before creeping toward the door, every nerve screaming at me to stay in bed. I looked through the peephole. Nothing. The hallway lights flickered weakly, casting long shadows, but there was no one there. No footsteps. No sound of retreat. Just silence so thick it rang in my ears. I didn't sleep after that. The next day, Mrs. Igioma from 2A knocked on my door, during daylight thankfully. Her eyes were red, her voice trembling. It knocked on mine too, she said without greeting. I didn't ask what it was. Somehow I already knew. She told me her husband had opened the door. There was nobody there, she said, gripping her wrapper tightly. But the knocking didn't stop. It moved inside. That was the moment the fear stopped being abstract. Whatever this was, it wasn't just outside anymore. By the third night, the entire building was awake before 2:17 a.m. People sat in their living rooms with lights on, phones in hand, whispering prayers or holding knives, bottles. Anything that made them feel less helpless. The air felt charged, like the building itself was holding its breath. 2:16 a.m. 2:17 a.m. The knocks came. Not from one door. From all of them. Every apartment door, every floor knocked on at the same time. 3 slow, deliberate knocks that echoed into one horrible, unified sound. Then came the voices. First, they were faint. Almost gentle. Open the door. Please. I need help. It's cold out here. The voices were familiar. Too familiar. I heard my mother's voice calling my name, even though she had been dead for 6 years. Across the hallway, someone began to sob loudly. From downstairs, a man screamed, "That's my brother's voice." Whatever was knocking knew us. I backed away from my door as my phone buzzed with messages. "Don't open it. It sounds like my wife. God help us." Someone opened their door on the 4th floor. The screaming started seconds later. It wasn't the sharp scream of pain. It was long and wet and wrong, like something was being stretched beyond what a human body could endure. It cut off abruptly, leaving behind a silence so deep it felt like the building had died. Then the knocking moved. Not on doors anymore. On walls. On ceilings. On the inside of the pipes. Top. 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 It was crawling through the building, learning its shape, testing every barrier between us and it. At 2:32 a.m. the power went out. Emergency lights bathed the hallways in red, making the place look like the inside of a wound. Doors began to open slowly, cautiously, as people stepped into the hall, unable to stay alone anymore. That's when we saw it. Didn't walk. It unfolded. From the far end of the hallway, something tall and thin peeled itself out of the shadows, like a shadow realizing it had a body. Its limbs bent in too many places. Its head lolled to one side, neck stretched and twisted, mouth pulled into a smile that was all wrong. Its face kept changing. One second it was a crying child. The next, a smiling old man. Then my mother. I gagged, stumbling backward. It knocked as it moved. Not with its hands. With its bones. Each step produced that same hollow knocking sound, like knuckles against wood. 3 knocks. Always 3. Someone ran. The thing's head snapped toward the sound, and in a blur of movement that made my eyes water, it crossed the hallway. The man didn't even have time to scream. The thing folded around him, swallowing him into its shape like he had never existed. The knocking stopped, then started again. Louder, closer. People scattered, slamming doors, crying, praying. I ran back into my apartment, locking every lock, pushing my couch against the door even though I knew, deep down, it wouldn't matter. The knocking came to my door. 3 knocks. "Please," my mother's voice said softly. "I'm tired. Let me in." Tears streamed down my face as I pressed my back against the wall, covering my ears. "I know you're awake," it whispered, now sounding like me. "You hear me every night." The door began to bend inward, not breaking, breathing. The wood pulsed with each knock, bowing like skin over ribs. In desperation, I remembered something my grandmother used to say. Things that knock want to be invited. Things that are invited can be named. I don't know why that thought surfaced then. Maybe fear makes you reach for anything. I screamed, "What are you?" The knocking paused. The silence was deafening. Then the voice replied, no longer pretending to be anyone else. "I am the one you let in when you listen." The door split down the middle. Darkness poured through the crack, thick and alive, carrying the smell of rot and cold earth. I felt hands, too many, too thin, reaching for me. I grabbed my phone and smashed it against the doorframe, shattering the screen as I screamed every name I could think of. God, Jesus, my mother, my grandmother, myself. The thing recoiled. It shrieked, not in pain but in frustration, as the hallway lights flared back to life. The darkness snapped back like a tide being pulled away. The door slammed shut. Silence. Morning came without explanation. Police found the 4th floor empty. Doors open, apartment stripped of life, like no one had ever lived there. Security footage showed nothing after 2:17 a.m. Just doors opening, people running, then static. They told us stress, mass hysteria, a gas leak. Most people moved out within a week. I stayed, because sometimes when the building is quiet and the clock creeps toward 2:17 a.m., I hear it. Not knocking anymore. Scratching. From inside the walls. Learning. Waiting. And last night, for the first time, it knocked back when I knocked on my own door by accident trying to get my keys. 3 slow knocks. From the inside.